September 12, 1958. 11:47 p.m. Big Sam's hands trembled as he gripped the pistol. $50,000. That was the number the five families agreed on for Bumpy Johnson's head. And Sam Bumpy's personal bodyguard for 5 long years, the man Bumpy once called brother. He took the job. The plan? Straightforward. Walk into Lenox Lounge. Wait for the right moment. One shot to the back of the head. Gone before anyone knew what happened. Sam stepped inside. Bumpy was at his usual table. Back turned. Exposed. Sam reached for his weapon, raised it, aimed. Pulled the trigger. Click. Silence. The entire room froze. Bumpy turned slowly, calm as ever, and stared straight into Sam's eyes. Then he said 5 words that would echo for years. I've been counting on you. But here's what most people never knew, what history never wrote down. Bumpy Johnson had known about the hit for 3 weeks. And what he did during those 3 weeks didn't just save his life. It rewrote the rules of Harlem forever. To understand what went down that night, you first have to understand who Bumpy Johnson really was in 1958. He wasn't just some gangster. He was Harlem's wall. The man who stood between the community and the chaos waiting to consume it. By the late 50s, Harlem was under pressure. The Italian mob, especially the 5 families, had their eyes on the numbers racket. It was big money. Poor folks betting dimes that turned into millions. And the Italians wanted it all. But one man stood in their way. Bumpy Johnson. He had built something they couldn't figure out. He didn't control Harlem with fear, he did it with respect. When families couldn't make rent, Bumpy covered it. When cops pushed black-owned businesses, Bumpy made it stop. When the Italians tried squeezing their way in, Bumpy pushed back. Hard. They tried force, he sent their guys home in stretchers. They tried deals, he told them Harlem wasn't for sale. They tried politics, Bumpy had better connections. By 1958, the Italians were losing patience. Desperate men make bold moves. Frank Coslow, one of the city's biggest bosses, called a sit-down. All 5 families showed up. Topic: the Bumpy Johnson problem. We've tried muscle. We've tried money. We've tried politics, Coslow said, cool as ice. None of it works. He's untouchable. So what now? Gambino asked, puffing on a cigar. Coslow leaned in. We make him touchable. We flip someone he trusts. And that's when someone said the name. Big Sam. Samuel, Big Sam. Foster had been tight with Bumpy since 53, 6'4", 260 pounds of muscle and trust. He'd taken bullets for Bumpy. Held him down through every street war. Raid and funeral. If anyone could get close enough to take the shot, it was Sam. So they sent in Tony the collector. Tony didn't throw punches. He found weak spots. Everyone's got one. August 20th, 1958. 3 weeks before Lenox Lounge. Sam was leaving his building on 132nd when a black Cadillac pulled up. Window rolled down. Tony Morone in the back seat, smiling like he sold life insurance. Sam, right? Big Sam? Heard a lot about you. Sam's hand moved toward his waistband. 45 always there. Who's asking? Just a friend. Someone who wants to make you rich. Tony nodded at the empty seat. 5 minutes. That's it. You don't like what I say? Walk away. No pressure. Sam should have walked. But curiosity? That's a slippery slope. He got in. Tony went right to it. You're a smart man, Sam. Loyal. But loyalty won't pay your daughter's hospital bills. Sam's jaw clenched. His little girl, Kesha, had been sick with TB for months. Treatments cost more than he had. Bumpy had helped save him $2,000. But it barely made a dent. It was never enough. Tony opened the briefcase. Inside neat rows of $100 bills. $50,000. That's what we're offering, he said. Enough to clear every hospital bill. Enough to move your family somewhere clean. Somewhere your daughter can breathe. For what? Sam asked. But he already knew. 1 bullet. 1 moment, Tony replied. You walk into Lenox Lounge on September 12th. Bumpy will be there same as every Friday night. Wait until he's distracted. 1 shot to the back of the head. Clean. Fast. Then vanish. Tony leaned forward. We've got a car ready. New names, new papers. By morning, you're in Miami. By next week, you're someone else entirely. Sam stared at the briefcase. $50,000. His daughter's life. His family's future. All for 1 pull of the trigger. And if I say no? Sam asked, barely above a whisper. Tony's smile faded. Then your daughter stays in that charity ward suffering. Then you keep working for Bumpy, looking over your shoulder every day, knowing a bullet's coming sooner or later, because that's how this ends, Sam. You know it? I know it. The only question is, do you die poor? Or rich? Sam stepped out of the car. Didn't say a word. But the briefcase? Tony left it on the seat, open, stacks of cash staring at him. That night, Sam couldn't sleep. He saw his daughter's face, her shallow breathing, the way she smiled through the pain. He saw that briefcase again. All that money. Enough to save her. Enough to start over. 3 days later, Sam made his choice. He called the number Tony gave him. I'm in, Sam said. But I want half up front. Half after. Done, Tony said. Welcome to the winning side. But here's what Sam didn't know. What Tony didn't know. Bumpy already knew about the setup before Sam ever got in that Cadillac. C. Bumpy Johnson didn't survive Harlem's streets by trusting blindly. He survived by understanding people. He knew every man had a price. Every man had a pressure point. And most importantly, every man left clues. Bumpy had eyes everywhere. Bartenders, janitors, shoeshine kids, cabbies, folks the Italians didn't even notice. Folks they never thought to bribe. One of them a parking lot guy named Jerome. He saw Tony Marone's Cadillac outside Sam's building that morning. Saw Sam get in. Wrote down the license plate. 2 hours later, Jerome was in Bumpy's office above Small's Paradise. Tony Marone's car, Jerome said, sliding a note across the desk. Parked outside Big Sam's place. Sam got in. 5 minutes later, he was out. Bumpy picked up the paper. Looked at Jerome. You sure it was Marone? Positive. I've seen him collect from the Italian spots on the east side. Bumpy didn't speak for a while. Then he reached into his drawer, pulled out $500, handed it to Jerome. You didn't see anything. You weren't there. Got it? Yes, sir, Mr. Johnson. After Jerome left, Bumpy sat at his desk, thinking. 5 years. That's how long Sam had been by his side. 5 loyal, dangerous, unpredictable years they'd faced raids. Turf wars. Enemies. They'd buried friends. Fought together. Bumpy had trusted him with everything. But now the Italians had his ear. And if there's one thing Bumpy knew about desperate men, they make reckless choices. Bumpy could have handled it then and there. 1 call, and Sam would vanish. Done and forgotten. That's what most bosses would have done. But Bumpy wasn't most bosses. He didn't want to kill Sam. He wanted to teach him. So he made a quiet call to a man in Brooklyn, Victor. A gunsmith Bumpy had known for 15 years. I need a favor, Bumpy said. I need a gun. Sure, Victor said. What kind? One that doesn't work. Victor paused. You want a broken gun? No, Bumpy replied. I want a perfect-looking gun. One that feels right in the hand. But when you pull the trigger, nothing. No bullet. No firing pin strike. Just a click. You want a dummy gun? Victor asked. A very convincing one, Bumpy said. Can you do it? Victor could. And within 3 days, he delivered it. A modified .38 special that looked and felt exactly like Sam's. Same weight. Same grip. But inside, it was useless. Now came the tricky part. Swapping the guns without Sam ever knowing. That meant getting into Sam's apartment unnoticed. And for that, Bumpy had a plan. September 8th, 4 days before the hit, Bumpy sent Sam on a quiet errand across town. I need you to pick up an envelope from a contact in the Bronx, he told him. It's important. Don't come back without it. The trip would take at least 3 hours. More than enough time. While Sam was gone, Bumpy and his most trusted man, Illinois Gordon, went to Sam's apartment. They found his pistol right where Bumpy expected, in a shoebox under the bed. They replaced it with Victor's modified gun, identical on the outside. Dead on the inside. Sam would never notice. Now Bumpy had to wait. Let Sam make his move, because if he stepped in too soon, Sam could deny it. The Italians might just recruit someone else. And the cycle would never end. No, Bumpy needed Sam to act. He needed the betrayal to happen in front of witnesses. Only then could the truth be revealed. To Sam, to Harlem, to the 5 families. The message would be simple. You can't outsmart Bumpy Johnson. Because Bumpy is always 3 moves ahead. September 12, 1958, 11:47 p.m. Lenox Lounge. The club was packed. 300 people, musicians, hustlers, politicians, businessmen. Friday night in Harlem meant jazz, cognac, and conversations that shaped tomorrow. Bumpy sat in his usual corner booth. 2 city councilmen beside him. They were discussing a new housing plan for Sugar Hill. He wore a sharp gray suit. His fedora rested on the table next to an untouched glass of Hennessy. Sam arrived at 11:30. He'd had a few drinks, just enough to calm his nerves. In his jacket was the .38 special. The same gun he'd carried for 5 years. Only now he thought it was his ticket to $50,000. He positioned himself near the bar, watching, waiting. Bumpy had his back to him, engaged in conversation. Relaxed, vulnerable. 11:47 p.m. Sam moved. He walked through the crowd, hand in his jacket. No one looked twice. He was the bodyguard. He belonged 6 feet away, then 4. Then 2. He drew the gun. The bartender saw it first. His eyes went wide. But before he could react, Sam had aimed and pulled the trigger. Click. That single sound, small but piercing, cut through the room. The jazz stopped mid-note. Conversations ended mid-sentence. 300 pairs of eyes turned toward Sam, standing there, holding a gun that had just betrayed him, and Bumpy Johnson still sitting calmly. Not flinching, not moving. He took a slow sip from his glass, then placed it down gently. Turned around in his chair. His eyes met Sam's. No rage, no fear, just disappointment. I've been counting on you, Bumpy said. Those 5 words hit Sam harder than any bullet ever could, and in that moment, it all came together. Bumpy had known. He'd known about Tony Morone, the briefcase, the offer, the plan, and instead of stopping him, Bumpy had let him go through with it. Let him walk into that club. Let him pull the trigger. Let him betray himself in front of the entire room, the community, the people who respected him. All of Harlem. Sam's gun slipped from his hand. It clattered to the floor. His knees gave out. I'm sorry, he whispered. God, I'm sorry. Bumpy, I'm sorry. My daughter. I know about your daughter, Bumpy interrupted. His voice was soft, but the room was silent. Everyone heard. I've known for 6 months. You think I don't take care of my people? Bumpy reached into his coat, pulled out an envelope, dropped it on the table. Kesha's medical bills, he said. All of them paid this morning. And there's a check for $5,000 for whatever your family needs. Tears filled Sam's eyes. His voice cracked. But why didn't you tell me? Because I had to know, Bumpy said. I had to know if you'd pick loyalty or money. If you'd chosen their 50 grand over our brotherhood. Bumpy paused. Now I know. He stood up. He wasn't a tall man, 5'9" on a good day, but right then, he felt 10 feet tall. You're leaving Harlem tonight, Bumpy. Sighed. You're taking your family and disappearing. I don't care where, but if I ever see you again, if I even hear your name again, there won't be a second chance. Understand? Sam nodded, face soaked in tears. And Sam, Bumpy added, voice low and sharp, when the Italians ask what happened here tonight, you tell them the truth. Tell them Bumpy Johnson knew. Tell them he always knows. Tell them you can't buy loyalty in Harlem. And tell them if they ever try this again, I won't be this merciful. Sam stood on shaking legs, picked up the useless gun, and walked out of Lenox Lounge. That night, he left New York. He never came back, the last anyone heard. He was doing construction work in Detroit, a broken man with the weight of his betrayal on his back. After Sam left, Bumpy turned to the room. 300 people, still frozen in silence, had just watched a man try to kill Bumpy Johnson and watched Bumpy turn it into something else entirely. A lesson. Let me make something clear, Bumpy said, his voice steady, reaching every corner of the club. The Italians think they can buy us. They think they can divide us. They think they can take Harlem because we're poor, because we're black, because they think we don't matter. He picked up his glass of cognac. They're wrong. Harlem isn't for sale. It never was. It never will be. And anyone who thinks otherwise, anyone who thinks they can walk into my neighborhood and buy my people, they're going to learn what Big Sam just learned. We're not the ones who need protection. They are. Bumpy raised his glass. To Harlem and to loyalty that can't be bought. 300 people raised their glasses with him. To Harlem. The band started playing again. The room came back to life. And within minutes, it was as if nothing had happened. But everyone knew. Everything had changed. Word spread fast through New York's underworld. By morning, every street from Boston to Baltimore had heard the story. Bumpy Johnson had known about the hit for 3 weeks. He let it happen. He let the traitor show his face. He turned betrayal into a public warning. And he did it all without spilling a drop of blood. The 5 families called an emergency meeting the next day. Frank Costello was furious. But not at Bumpy. He was furious at Tony Maroney for failing. But Carlo Gambino saw it differently. We can't beat this man, Gambino said. We've tried force. We've tried money. We even turned one of his own. Nothing worked. Every time we make a move, he's already waiting. So what do? Costello snapped. Gambino lit a cigar. We leave Harlem alone. We focus on Brooklyn, Queens, the Bronx. But Harlem belongs to Bumpy Johnson. And trying to take it from him? That'll just cost us more money and more men. It was the first time the 5 families ever backed off a territory without firing a shot. But they had no choice. That night at Lenox Lounge, Bumpy proved something. He wasn't just a gangster. He was a chess player. A strategist who saw 10 moves ahead. And when you're up against a grandmaster, you don't play unless you're ready to lose. The story of Big Sam's betrayal became legend in Harlem. It got passed down for decades, told to kids, grandkids, anyone willing to listen. It wasn't just a story. It was a warning, a lesson about loyalty, about staying sharp, about knowing the game better than your enemies. By the next morning, every ear in the underworld had heard. And every boss knew. You don't go at Bumpy Johnson unless you're ready for war. The Italians walked away. Bumpy lived another 10 years. He didn't die from a bullet. He died from a heart attack, ironically, in the same Lenox Lounge where he faced down Big Sam. But that night proved something most people miss. The deadliest weapon isn't a gun. It's knowing what's coming before your enemy does. It's flipping their move into your win. It's playing chess. While they're still learning checkers, Big Sam took 50 grand and left with nothing but shame. And Bumpy? Bumpy finished his drink and kept being the king of Harlem. Hey, if this story hit you, do me one quick favor. Tap that like button. And if you're not subscribed yet, now is the quick favor. Tap that like button. And if you're not subscribed yet, now is the BMV. Time. These Bumpy Johnson stories drop daily, and trust me, the next one? Even crazier. Drop a comment and tell me, do you think Bumpy should have handled it another way? Would you have let Sam walk out or handled it different? And don't forget to turn on those notifications, because next week we're diving into the story of the time Bumpy Johnson walked into Lucky Luciano's office with no weapon and walked out with a deal of a lifetime. Yeah, you're going to want to see that one. Remember, in Harlem, respect wasn't handed out, it was earned. And Bumpy Johnson? He earned every bit of his.